At BMO, we're welcoming new customers with $350 and a huge batch of welcome cakes.
Oi, we need more blue icing. Are you tasting? Just keep mixing, people.
Okay, just the $350. Don't miss your chance to get up to $350 when you open a new BMO checking account and get additional qualifying BMO products. When a bank makes you feel this welcome, that's the BMO effect.
Hurry, offer expires October 2nd. Terms and conditions apply. Visit a BMO branch or bmo.com/welcome for full offer details.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, divas out there. You've just tuned into the Divas That Care Network. My name is Candace Gish, and I'm the host of this show. Well, I'm really excited that each and every one of you is tuned in today. We're going to have a really amazing show. I have a brand new diva coming to our show today. Her name is Stacey Berger, and I'm really excited to see what she's going to be talking about here. For any of you that are just tuned in today, the Divas That Care Network has been running now for 8 years. We've had the amazing privilege to interview women around the world. Our shows are about inspiration and empowerment. I started the show because I myself have got 4 young divas, and I wanted a way for them to have an opportunity to listen to these amazing women, to be inspired, to be empowered. So all of our shows are recorded, and we have a recorded database, and we love you to listen to each and every one of our past shows. And you can listen to them at divasthatcare.com. And then you can also listen to all of our amazing other hosts that have just joined us this year. Well, let's get started, ladies. Today's guest, as I was saying, was Stacey Berger. And, oh, my goodness, Stacey, I'm very excited to have you onto our show. So welcome to our Diva family.
Thank you so much, Candace. It really is an honor to be here.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm excited to have you. Stacey, because you're brand new to our show, can you spend a couple of minutes just telling us about yourself so we can get to know you?
Yeah, absolutely. Where to begin? I would love to tell you and your listeners a little bit about my story and how I got to where I am today. And I came from the business world, as a young female, entered the corporate world and was always very, very driven and a big goal setter. So I would set a goal and I would go to work and I would achieve that goal. And in 2005, married my best friend, Jeff, and in 2006, we decided it was time to start a family and got really excited. There's the next goal. That's the next life goal is time to start a family. And we started to set ourselves up and prepare for that. You mentioned you've got 4 divas at home, and got really excited about that idea of becoming a mom and having a family and the Christmas mornings and everything that goes into that. And 3 months went by, we weren't pregnant. 6 months went by, we weren't pregnant. A year went by, we weren't pregnant. And as somebody who was used to, I would say, accomplishing things in life, that started to wear on me. What's wrong with me? What's going on? You can just imagine everywhere I'm looking, I'm seeing pregnant women or new families. And a year goes by, 2 years goes by, almost 3 years goes by. And I'm looking sideways at Jeff. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with me? Maybe we weren't meant to have a family. And around that time, we got ourselves into a course, and it had nothing to do with conception, obviously, but we got ourselves into a course, and the first day they asked us, what would 3 home runs be by means of being in this class? And the first thing on both of our lists was to start a family. And inside that class, they taught us this idea that your thoughts have power. And I was always a positive person, always optimistic. But I realized that day that my attention and what I'd been thinking about for the last couple of years was why I wasn't pregnant. And that day in that class, I switched my attention back to the excitement of having a family and the Christmas mornings and holding that brand new baby and hearing the words mom. And within 2 weeks, we were pregnant. And you can imagine that caught my attention.
Wow.
So today I've got 3 beautiful children. They are 5, 7, and 9. Jeff has been a stay-at-home dad since our first was born. That's something that we visioned. And about 4 years ago, after spending 16 years climbing that corporate ladder in an executive position, made the decision that it was time to do my own thing. So for the last 4 years, I've been a professional speaker, life coach, really helping people overcome those obstacles and really use, and it's not just the power of positive thinking. There's a lot more than that, but the power of our mindset to really transform circumstances in their life.
I love that. And it's very powerful because isn't that, that's something that we're told. We weren't told before that it's your thoughts that get you somewhere. It's the thoughts, but you're really working with individuals. You've lived that, and now you're teaching that. Can you tell us a little bit about how you work with I know that you work with men and women. So let's talk a little bit how you work with them. How kind of what kind of things you do with these individuals?
Yeah, I guess first of all, I'd love to share. Climbing that corporate ladder, being in that executive position. Jeff was a stay-at-home dad, and there was a time in my life inside the corporate world I mentored entrepreneurs. That's what I did, and I loved the mentorship. I loved seeing the light bulbs go on. I loved celebrating the successes with people, and inside the corporation that I was working in, a lot of things were changing. A lot of things in the industry were changing. I would say they really went into a fear place, and it no longer was aligning with my core values. And, there's mornings where I'm getting up, leaving the house while my kids are still in bed. I'm getting home, and they're back in bed, and realizing that I was exchanging my kids' childhood for work that I didn't even love anymore. And, 3 kids at home, supporting this family. It wasn't practical, wasn't logical. We're really taught to do the logical thing, I would say. But I made a decision to leave that corporate world. And I think that's important for people to know is like you said, I've lived it. I've made those tough decisions. And so what I really support people with is getting clear about what they would love, not what they think they should be doing, not what they think they have to be doing, but what is it that would light them up in their relationships, in their health, in their careers. And once they have a crystal clear, I call it an energetic blueprint for what it is they want to create, most people spend more time planning a weekend getaway or a vacation than they do their lives. So really getting clear about what it is they want to create, and then overcoming all of what seems to be barriers in the way to go and live that life.
Stacey, I love that. And I want to interrupt you for a second because there's a lot of people you find that there's probably a lot of people living their life like that. They're doing a job because they want a paycheck, and then as soon as they're doing that 9 to 5, and then so they can, do all their fun stuff on the weekends and that. How are people getting to that point in their life where they decide to make that change? Is there like a trigger? Is there something that you're seeing a lot of, or because I do find that more people are wanting to make changes, but is there something that people really notice?
Yeah, it's, for me, it was a slow process. It wasn't just waking up one morning and, I want to make a change. And this is what can happen is we fall asleep in the routine of life where we don't even realize that we're not happy. And sometimes until we sit down and we do some self-reflection, people ask us some questions, sometimes there is an aha moment. What happens, unfortunately, is most people wait for the wake-up call. There's a diagnosis, there's a divorce, there's a separation, there's a layoff. And the goal is that we don't want to have to wait for that catastrophic moment or that high emotional impact to make that decision when we can really intentionally take the time to check in. That's a much more empowering way to make a change. But unfortunately, it does often come on the heels of an event.
An event, yes. But are you finding that people are still scared? They're probably scared to make that transition still.
Absolutely. And we're really taught to be logical, to be practical, where change feels impossible. Not to leave the benefits, not to leave the security, wait till the kids are older, or wait till I get to a certain age, or wait till summer's over, and we get into this delay, and a year goes by pretty quick, and 10 years can go by pretty quick. And so most people, unfortunately, never get that support. And what I would say is doing it on your own is a lot tougher than getting the support to help to help navigate that change. But yeah, fear is what stops us.
And so let's get back to that other question I asked. How can you help them? Because I'm listening to you right now, and I can think of a dozen people that are probably going through this transition that they're not happy. They don't know what to do. They are overwhelmed because they're like, well, I can't leave this because I got to pay the bills. And if I can't bring the money in, then we're going to lose our house and we're going to do this. But I want to talk to you, like how, because it is, I think in our lives, life is too short. We need to enjoy it. We need to live our life to our full potential, our full purpose, but be happy. And you see a lot of people that are just not happy anymore. So as I'm listening to you, how can you, and what do you do with these people that just to kind of help alleviate maybe some of that burdens that they have on their shoulders? Like, what kind of things would you say to a person today listening to help them through that?
Yeah, great question. Oftentimes people say, I don't want to work with you because you're going to make me quit my job. And I never made somebody quit their job. So oftentimes people are afraid of what might happen. And where it always starts, Candace, is doing a bit of an assessment. So where are you today? And really give yourself permission to do an honest check-in. And ask the question, how long has it been? How long has it been that I haven't been happy or I've been struggling in this area? And the other powerful question is, if I don't make a change, what is that cost going to be? And a lot of times that's just lost life. That's not living into our potential. Sometimes it's our lives are at risk if it's a health challenge or a really negative or being in a toxic environment. So what I do with people is I do a complimentary call to figure out, first of all, if it's the right fit. So let's take a look at where you are, where you want to go, and then what steps or what support you might need to help bridge that gap. And if we're a fit, then we go through a success system. I call it, it's a proven, repeatable system to really help, again, get clear, where do you want to go, and then how do we get there, working with the mindset as well as different actions on how to navigate that gap.
Wow, and I think that what you're doing is fantastic, because I think that's the whole thing, is that sometimes we don't realize what we need and what we want in our lives. We just keep on doing the mundane. We keep on doing the things that we think, or even the transitional stage. You know, you probably hear this all the time, is that we go into a job that we really enjoyed. We went to university because we wanted to be an engineer, and we did this for so many years because we really love it and it's exciting. But then you get to that stage in your life, well, do I want to do this for another 20 years? And you're probably working a lot with transitional people too. That's like, oh, maybe I want to do something different. And do you find that that's a little bit different, or is it kind of the same as everything else? Like, is it all basically, is it all the same process, everything?
Yeah, great question. I would say what I like to reinforce to people is that we are meant to grow. We're either growing or we're dying, where there is life seeking greater expression through you. So that desire for more, that desire for change, that desire to be more, do more, have more, it is the most natural thing in the world. But a lot of times we've been told just be grateful for what you have. Look how many years you have there. Look at what you've invested. This is all that you know. And so we suppress that part of us that wants to transition, that wants to grow. And we fall into this trap of what I call the Lone Ranger syndrome. So we understand the value of education for kids. We understand the value of coaching for athletes. But for some reason, we, as a culture, we haven't understand the value of asking for help or getting that coaching when it comes to our own lives and trying new things and learning new things and thinking about things differently. And we only know what we know. And the other thing is, friends and family are critical. We need that support system, but they don't make the best mentors because they're too emotionally attached. They know your history. They know your past. They know what they think are your strengths or your weaknesses. And so they're seeing you through a certain lens. And to have somebody outside of your inner circle is really powerful for perspective and just to draw that potential out of you.
I love it. And it's so true, isn't it? And I love this in the fact that, our parents, I don't know if your parents like, but my parents, they were the same job their whole lives. We have a lot of family that were nurses their whole lives. They were teachers their whole lives. And it's nice to know that there's people out there like yourself that is like, okay, because I really see the shift. It could be, there's so many probably dynamics and why there's a shift now, but a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to live my life like that. I want to explore. I want to try new things. And in the past, to be like, oh, you're constantly changing jobs. What's wrong with you? Can't you stay with something for a long period of time? But I think now with having individuals like yourself, life coaches, and it's okay to say, you know what? I want to change my job career. I only want to do this for 5 years, and I want to try something new. And I love that people are more accepting now than they ever have been in, I think I would say, history.
Yeah. The other piece that I would add to that, Candace, that I think is really important is to be aware that sometimes we change the outside world. So, well, if only I had a different job, if only I had a different spouse, if only I wasn't single, if only I wasn't overweight. And we look at the outside world to change so that we can be happy. And a lot of the work that I do and other coaches do is that internal work, right? That you're taking yourself with you. So let's really get to, again, who you are and what you're passionate about. So no matter what job you're in, no matter what the circumstances are, you can be happy with you. And so there's a both and there.
There's a good balance there, isn't there? And it's that personal development that you're teaching people along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, it makes me smile when I hear the passion in your voice and, listening to individuals like yourself, because I'm like, this is fantastic. You're really supporting that individual, and it's so important. Okay, so now I want to talk, you are doing this cool vision workshop. I want you to maybe share with our listeners, because I know it's not going to be for a while here, but maybe we can grab some interest and get people to this event for you.
Yeah, thank you. I have an event. It's on October 27th, and I know it's not for a while, but I think we're half sold out already. So it is in Edmonton, and it's 9 to 4, and it's such a powerful day working on vision, working on mindset, how to overcome fear, doubt, worry, all the things that hold us back. And it's a day where just an incredible group of people come together. It's high energy, it's interactive, and really I know people, their lives have changed as a result of being at that day. So if anyone is interested in that, I would love to support you in being there.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask you, for any of those individuals listening today that do not know what a vision workshop is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in that day, we spend quite a bit of time asking really impactful questions so that you can have that clear, I call it, you're creating an energetic blueprint. And like I said, we often spend more time planning a weekend vacation. So if you're going on a vacation, you've got it in your head, you can imagine it. But we don't do that with our life. Usually we have a pretty fuzzy picture of what we want, and there's power in having it clearly defined. So this isn't a vision boarding exercise. It's a vision workshop. And so you'll leave there with a much more crystal clear picture of what you want in your health, in your relationships, in your career, and that time and money freedom, and learn what causes us not to move forward, and understand what's going on inside and outside, why we can't create change, and how to overcome that, and how to get that support that you need to do that. So really powerful day to really work on yourself and give yourself permission a day to be fully engaged in what you're creating in your life. I say there's two ways that we can live. One is by design, and one is by default. You don't have a choice. You're creating a life anyways. You're going to live, God willing, another 365 days. And do you want to live that by default, which is just repeating the same patterns, or to design it in a way that you would love? And so that's what we really work with.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. So this is So I'm going to ask you, because I know that a lot of our listeners are women. A lot of them are moms out there that have children. Do you do vision workshops, or do you offer tips for how to do this with your children to help them have a clear path or have an understanding of the things that they want to achieve in their lives?
Absolutely. So I work with a lot of parents, and what happens is as you personally do this work and as you live from your vision, what happens is your kids see that. When you're living a life that you love, you're impacting them in more ways. I have lots of parents who now communicate with their kids much differently. They're much deeper relationships. And so everything that I teach can absolutely be applied to kids. I don't work directly with kids. I do have other resources of people that do that, but it's incredible. It goes back to God, be the change you want to see in the world. And if you want your kids to live in an empowered life, then it starts with you.
That is fantastic advice. I love it. Okay, so we know that your work in the Edmonton area. We do have listeners actually throughout Canada, U.S., and Europe. So do you work with people online? Because I know that that's going to be a couple questions that I get here soon. Is it something that you will work through a Zoom or anything like that with these individuals?
Yeah, I work with people all over the world. So everything I do is actually over the phone or online. So I have clients all over the world. So that, which is such a nice thing about this day and age, that we can do that. And I do speak across North America. But yeah, most of my events are more Edmonton, Calgary based. But as far as coaching, I do offer some webinars now and then as well. But yeah, that's absolutely possible.
Excellent. And we're going to be posting that information on our social media for all of you listeners too. Okay. So now I have a question in regards to things that are important to you, like volunteering. And I know that you're a mentor with futurepreneurs. Can you tell us a little bit about that and Womanition?
Yeah, I am such a believer. I've been blessed with mentors my entire life. Consciously I've sought them out, and they've appeared in my life, and some of them have stayed and some of them have stayed and gone. And I know the power of mentorship, having somebody who's walked the walk and can really support. So I, wherever I can, mentor anybody, even if it's, 5 minutes in a coffee shop lineup. So I do volunteer for a couple of organizations. One's called Futurepreneur, which is an organization that works with young adults, I think under 40, where they finance entrepreneurs in their businesses. But as part of that financing, they also get paired with a mentor. And Womanition also has a mentorship program where they pair business owners with somebody who's successful in business, and we mentor them. And what I have found, and even in the corporate world where we did that for entrepreneurs, is it cuts the learning down, I would say, anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So we can either try and figure it out on our own and trial and error, and yes, there's some of that in life. But when you can have that mentorship, I really believe it gives you a leg up. So that's something that I'm very passionate about.
I love it. And I love that women are locking arms. And that's what it's all about, is working together and learning from one another and supporting one another. And we're really seeing an uptrend in that. And it brings a smile to my face, because I just love it that people are able to do that. And, not think of each other as competition, but to think of each other as partners. And what you're doing is just very inspiring and empowering for all of our listeners today. So thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Can I add something to that, Candace? I think this is...
You can.
In the corporate world, I was in a male-dominated industry. Didn't realize that. I got into the company when I was, 18, 19. And I really, looking back on it, realized how much of a shield I put up. This real, I've got to have my stuff together. I'm young. I'm female. You got to prove yourself. And I would say that was a real masculine energy in a lot of ways. And it's been really fun in the last 10 years or so, really to honor that feminine, and just to really see the differences in how men work together and how women work together. And I would say I didn't realize that even about myself yet, even, like I say, the last 5 or 10 years. And it's really fun to watch the collaboration of women, and what can come out of that is so powerful. And that's why I'm such a fan of the work that you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And it's because of women like you, we definitely want to spotlight you and share your ideas and your visions with everybody. Okay, so last minute, do you have any last minute questions or last minute tips and tools that you can leave our listeners today?
My last tip would be ask the question, what would I love? Give yourself permission to daydream like you were when you were 3 or 5 and you could be anything you want. What would you really love if you were guaranteed to succeed? And then find a mentor, find a coach, ask for that help. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And every successful business owner, top athlete, they've understood that the power of coaching and the power of mentorship. So put yourself inside of that structure of support and watch what can happen in your life. Pretty exciting. And if you do want to reach out, I'm sure the links on how to do that will be on the website. But yeah, thank you for the time. And yeah, just knowing that whatever you put your mind to is absolutely possible, and you can believe in my belief in that.
Oh, I love it, Stacey. Thank you so much. I do want to actually ask you to leave any of your social media that you would like our listeners to be able to contact you with.
Sure. So you can find me online, staceyberger.ca, staceyberger.ca. I'm on Facebook, ever expanding. I've got a YouTube channel, so you can find me on YouTube. But probably best thing is if you go to my website, all my social media is on there.
Yay. Thank you so much, Stacey. This was a great call. I appreciate you coming on and being our amazing guest today.
Oh, thanks again, Candace.
Well, and thank you to all of our listeners. I'm already getting texts about this call. Oh, my goodness. We love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. It's because of our amazing listeners that we've been doing this for 8 years now. So thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you to our amazing diva, Stacey Berger. And thank you to everybody out there. You know, our show is about you, and we're about empowerment and inspiration. And I hope that you enjoy this call and that you pass it forward and you send it out to all your amazing friends and family. So until next time, I hope that you do something kind for somebody else. So take care, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.